feedback. What is peer feedback? It is using students to interactively help each other find and fix errors in learners' texts. Why use it? It has benefits for writers and reviewers alike, for various reasons, as well as the teacher. How do you use it? It is used as part of a writing cycle, with multiple revisions of a particular text. What do you need to be aware of when you use it? It requires time to explain, train, model, demonstrate, practice, and improve. Also, there are social, cultural, individual, group, and interactional affective aspects to consider. Teacher considerations. It is critical that the learners buy into the process and the products of peer feedback. It must be valuable, useful and helpful, credible for the learners. The benefits of peer feedback for improvement of text quality and language development need to be emphasized. Effective social elements. How can you increase the tactfulness or politeness of peer feedback and the appropriateness of the language of interaction to lower the affective barrier? Cultural social issues. Do the learners have prior experience with peer feedback? Does a learner's background make them question the authority of peer versus teacher feedback? Or that a learner can give accurate feedback? How do you overcome this resistance? What about reluctance or discomfort in giving peer feedback? The need for proper training to explain, model, or demonstrate what to focus on and how to make effective comments cannot be understated. Also, guided practice in groups or as a class with authentic student texts or examples of learners' comments should be provided. Assessment of comment making and comment taking should be included in the application of peer feedback to answer questions such as: does the reviewer understand how to give effective feedback? Does the writer understand the individual interventions are necessary to recalibrate learners' understanding and participation in the process? Why peer feedback can be helpful. It complements teacher and self-feedback because of the different perspectives, abilities, and foci of the various types of reviewers. It provides different points of view and promotes an increased awareness of audience. Language acquisition of vocabulary and grammatical structure for more knowledgeable peers can occur by reciprocal scaffolding within the writer's and or reviewers' zones of proximal development. Ownership of text by holding writers accountable for content and the editorial decisions they make can be fostered. Division of labor is taken advantage of by leveraging review conducted in parallel. Also, peer feedback can provide immediate feedback. Effective peer feedback can enable learners to notice the gaps between non-target-like production and a more native-like construction, and provides the opportunity for modified output in revision. Peer feedback allows for the opportunity to negotiate the meaning of text and peer comments, as well as differences between intended and perceived meanings. In turn, givers of peer feedback are sensitized to errors in their own texts, helping their self-monitoring and developing transferable critical evaluation skills. What to focus on when giving peer feedback. Genre or task requirements of academic writing, using grading rubrics to assist the reviewer. Global or serious errors, those that impede or interfere with comprehension and understanding by the reader, and affect the clarity of ideas expressed, the transition or flow between elements of the text, and the organization or development of ideas. Strengths of a text the writer can build upon, and weaknesses of a text that may be frequent or common, representing an area where a greater impact on overall text quality can be had through effective peer feedback. A limited number of error types, which can be guided by questions using a peer review checklist. For instance, what is the topic or main idea of the text? Is it appropriate and in the right place? Are the supporting ideas clear and balanced? Are these ideas supported with examples or evidence? Does the writer connect the ideas well, using transition words and phrases? Does the writer develop the ideas in a logical, orderly manner? What does the writer do well in the text? Give examples and say why. Is there an area the writer specifically wants addressed? How to give peer feedback effectively to a peer. Use the 4-step procedure for making comments, guiding questions, and or task genre requirements of a grading rubric. Give specific and detailed explanations and provide appropriate suggestions, recommendations, or alternatives to the writer's text. Number the comments in the text and explain the nature of the error on a peer response sheet that the writer can refer back to and discuss orally with the reviewer. Limit or focus peer feedback on certain types of errors, such as global higher order issues that are comprehension threatening errors. Indirectly providing feedback by only marking errors to encourage the deeper processing of peer feedback by problem solving on the part of the writer. Capitalize on the opportunity for clarification of writer or reviewer intentions in a discussion about the text or comments on errors. Negotiate meaning and mutual understanding. Use polite, tactful, and appropriate language in a supportive, collaborative way. The 4-step procedure for giving peer feedback. Clarifying. The purpose is to seek an explanation of unclear or confusing intentions of the writer. Examples. What do you mean when you say? What is the reason that you used this? Or are you trying to say? Identifying. The purpose is to locate or indicate a problem with a part of the text that interferes with the writer's intentions. Examples. This part does not seem to be clear. This example sounds contradictory to your main idea. Or the main idea sounds too vague or not very well defined. Explaining. The purpose is to describe the nature of problems. Establishes credibility to comments by convincing the writer of the problem. Examples. This may not be relevant because. This example may not be suitable because. Or this is not organized very well because. Giving suggestions. The purpose is to provide suggestions, recommendations, opinions, or alternatives. Examples. Maybe you could rephrase this in this way. Have you thought about rearranging your points in increasing order of importance? Or you could use more supporting evidence of this idea, like. In closing, peer feedback has many benefits, but it needs to be explained, modeled, practiced, and monitored by the teacher to maximize them. It is a valuable tool that is worth the initial and continuing investment of classroom time, as well as teacher and student resources. Care should be taken to develop learners as effective providers and receivers of this peer feedback.